Hey everyone, Donut here. I really don't have the motivation right now to put together a whole video. The editing process takes a long time, and I haven't done a Donuts Leo recap in a while where we take a look at some of the more interesting, crazy, controversial, or nutty stories that have happened involving law enforcement within the past week. So I figured I'd throw together a little podcast because I've never done one before, and you may be bored on your drive to work or just bored in general, and you want to listen to a guy with a giant mustache talking about fucked up stuff going on. I also want to apologize for not making videos or for streaming the past week. I miss everyone, which is why I'm at least making a podcast. If you follow my YouTube or any of my social media accounts, you know that a good friend of mine by the name of Jason Harris, who is an officer that I worked with, passed away after getting in a motorcycle accident last week en route to a call. I really don't want to go into detail about that right now. We can talk about that later. I'm just telling you that's why I've been kind of absent the past week. I do want to touch on something real quick involving Jason and his funeral that I attended yesterday. It was sad, but I got to see a lot of my officer friends who I haven't seen in a very long time. After the services, we went to a place in downtown Spartanburg called Delaney's Irish Pub. It's an amazing place to be. We may have had a few drinks, a few Irish car bombs, but everyone made it home safe. I wrote an article about yesterday on Blue Lives Matter. You can go check that out. I haven't wrote an article for them in a while, but I had to write this piece. Primarily because last night, a Wofford University College student by the name of Charles Colson decided it would be a good idea to get really, really drunk and tear up one of the wreaths that someone had left at Jason Harrison's memorial. The memorial for Jason Harris, which is his police car, is located about 50 yards from the bar we were at. It's out the back door across the street in front of the Spartanburg City Hall. A downtown officer, another friend of mine, caught Charles while he was in the process of destroying a piece of Jason's memorial. Charles probably doesn't realize how lucky he is that we didn't walk out the back door of the bar and see him actively destroying the wreath for Officer Jason Harris's memorial. Like I said, please go check out the article that I wrote about the entire incident at bluelivesmatter.blue. I'm sorry if this podcast is a little boring. I kind of threw it together at the last minute because I wanted to make some kind of content tonight. Future podcasts, though, may or may not include guests like Based Stickman, iNotorious, people like that. It's going to be a good time. It's been a freaking crazy week for law enforcement, especially today and yesterday. We got 3 officers shot in Seattle, 2 officers shot in South Carolina, and that was just between the 20th and 21st. I'm making this podcast at about 2 a.m. in the morning, so hopefully no more officers will get shot the rest of the damn day. Because I haven't done the Leo recap in a while, I wanted to just touch on a few of the more interesting stories that I've seen within the past few weeks. One story in particular that I wanted to talk about comes out of Tuscarawas County, Ohio. It comes out of Ohio. The story comes from a city called Newcomerstown. It sounds like whoever found that town thought really, really hard about the name. Newcomerstown police officer Brian Eubanks reported on Tuesday, April 11th that he had been shot during a traffic stop. On Tuesday, April 18th, he admitted to Police Chief Gary Holland that he made the whole story up after shooting himself. What in the hell, man? A massive manhunt was sparked for the vehicle and known criminal Chaz Gillian. It's not clear how Gillian got named as a suspect. After a manhunt for him, he was located and taken into custody and ruled out as a suspect. He was ruled out as a suspect after investigators started questioning him, and shit just didn't add up. It's actually pretty neat how investigators found out he was lying about the whole incident. There are these awesome little cameras, and it kind of works like facial recognition software, but these recognize plate numbers on cars. These little cameras can be placed on top of police cars so that when a police officer drives by you, it automatically reads your tag and relays the information about your tag to the officer's computer. If your tag's expired or you're driving a stolen vehicle or something like that, a little notification will pop up on the officer's computer telling them that. At my old department, we only had a few of these cars, and they were normally reserved for traffic officers or officers that were really good at busting people with drugs. Officer Eubanks just so happened to have this camera system in his car. What investigators did was they went back and looked at the tags that Officer Eubanks' car had recorded around the time that he claimed to have been shot. They got the tag numbers of the people who had drove by Officer Eubanks during the time of the incident and asked them what in the hell they saw when they were driving by Officer Eubanks. And just as expected, investigators found out that Officer Eubanks was alone in his car when he shot himself in the arm. The manhunt, which took place after Officer Eubanks shot himself in the arm and corroborated a false story, involved more than 100 police officers from the Guernsey County Sheriff's Office, Caution County Sheriff's Office, Tuscarawas County Sheriff's Office, and several other agencies. Hell, they even had the Ohio State University Police Department, the Ohio State Highway Patrol, the FBI, ATF, and the U.S. Marshals Service searching for this person who had shot Officer Eubanks. The Tuscarawas County Sheriff Orvis Campbell said that Eubanks was suicidal and was struggling with some emotional problems. Eubanks will probably be charged with some kind of felony like inducing panic or claiming a work-related injury. You guys know I harp on suicide a lot on this channel and how important it is for you to reach out to someone else if you're not feeling right. For the love of God, though, if you're feeling suicidal or you're having bad thoughts, don't shoot yourself in the arm, causing hundreds of officers to go on a manhunt. Another story I'd like to talk about that was probably the biggest story of the week involves Steve Stevens, the Facebook murderer. Probably saw him last week step out of his car while filming on Facebook Live and shoot a 74-year-old man in the face. I don't want to talk about that incident too much. I just want to talk about how Steve Stevens was caught. A $50,000 reward was offered for Stevens after the incident, and it just so happens that a worker at McDonald's is going to claim that $50,000. This dumbass, being one of the most wanted people in America at the time, pulls up to a McDonald's to order a 20-piece chicken nugget and french fries. The employee at the window instantly recognizes his face and vehicle, probably because his big dumb face had been blasted over every single mainstream media outlet in America. They alert their manager of the giant piece of shit sitting in the car outside of the window, and what do? They stall giving him his fries and call the police. Somebody please, for the love of God, get this person their $15 an hour. Steve Stevens, aka the Facebook killer, aka the Cleveland killer, was undone by some fucking McDonald's french fries. When police arrived on scene, he spotted them pulling into the parking lot. He took off. A very short vehicle chase took place, and he shot himself in the head as police attempted to pit him. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I think one of my big problems with this whole thing were people saying, well, law enforcement's not doing their job catching him. Keemstar, in his infinite fucking wisdom, got on Twitter and said that, oh, if it had been in New York, then the killer would have been caught already. It looks like apparently professional internet trolls know how police should do their jobs better than they do. We're going to go ahead and cut this short, everyone. I just want to say thank you for your continued support the past few weeks. You're awesome, and I should be streaming tomorrow and making videos that actually show my big dumb mustache. Everybody, please have a wonderful Friday and a fantastic weekend.